The automatic doors opened with a soft whoosh and Malik stepped into the marble-floored lobby of the Horizon Tech corporate headquarters. He wore a red hoodie, a black baseball cap pulled low, and jeans still dusted from the delivery van. A small box was tucked under one arm, no company logo on it, just a label with his name on it. The receptionist looked up, did a double take, then smiled the kind of smile that barely touches the eyes. Delivery entrance is around the back, she said, nodding toward the glass doors behind him. Malik didn't blink. I've got an appointment. Name's Malik James. Should be on the list. The smile faltered. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. Appointment with who, exactly? Executive team. 9:30. A man in a tailored suit walked past them toward the elevators, glancing briefly at Malik. Then again, longer this time. The pause was just long enough to turn the glance into a question. You lost? The receptionist cleared her throat. I'm not sure that's possible. We don't typically schedule. She stopped, trying to find a polite way to say people like you don't get meetings on the top floor. Malik's tone didn't change. You want to check again? She sighed, tapped quickly, then looked up. Her face changed. Her posture didn't. Oh, she said. I see. But you still need a visitor badge. And someone to escort you. Security protocol. Malik nodded once. That's fine. I'll wait. He took a step back, standing near the wall, still holding the small box, still wearing the hoodie. People passed by. Some looked. Some didn't. One young man in a Horizon Tech hoodie hesitated, then kept walking. No one said anything. Not yet. 10 minutes passed. Then 15. The receptionist busied herself with other tasks, occasionally glancing up at Malik as if still trying to solve a puzzle that didn't fit. A security guard near the elevators walked over slowly, hands on his belt, posture loose but eyes sharp. You waiting on someone? The guard asked. Malik nodded. Executive escort. They're on the way. The guard looked him over, eyes pausing at the box, the shoes, the hoodie. You know you can't loiter in here, right? I'm not, Malik said quietly. I've got a meeting. Then you can wait outside. The receptionist intervened this time, her voice low. Actually, he's on the list. I checked. The guard didn't move at first. His eyes flicked from her to Malik, then back again. You sure? I said I checked. The guard gave Malik one last look, then walked off without another word. Malik stayed exactly where he was. Still. Quiet. Not because he didn't feel the tension in the room, he did, but because he'd felt it before. And because he knew it wouldn't last much longer. From behind the glass wall, an elevator dinged open. Two men in dark suits stepped out, laughing about something, until one of them looked up and stopped mid-sentence. Malik, the taller one, asked. Malik stepped forward, expression neutral. Morning, Simon. Simon's face shifted fast, from confusion to recognition, then to something more like embarrassment. Damn, we didn't know you'd be here this early. Or, he didn't finish the sentence. Malik looked past him toward the elevators. We heading up? Simon glanced quickly at the receptionist, who now sat completely still, and gave a quick nod. Of course. Right this way, Mr. James. As they passed, the receptionist opened her mouth slightly, then shut it again. The security guard turned his head but said nothing. The elevator doors closed behind them. Silence returned to the lobby, but it was different now. The elevator began its smooth ascent, the hum of its motor barely audible. Floor numbers lit up in a quiet rhythm, 14, 15, 16. Simon stood stiffly beside Malik, clearing his throat once, twice, before finally speaking. Listen, I didn't mean anything earlier, he said, keeping his eyes on the elevator door. I just wasn't expecting you to come in, like that. Malik looked at him, calm. Like what? Simon shifted. Casually. Unannounced. I mean, no suit. No assistant. No performance, Malik corrected. That's the word you're looking for. Simon opened his mouth, then closed it again. The elevator stopped at 28. Executive floor. When the doors slid open, the atmosphere changed. Quieter, colder. Glass walls. Designer furniture. The kind of space built to impress people who didn't need impressing. A young woman at the reception desk stood quickly when she saw them. Mr. James, she said, voice crisp. Conference room 1 is ready. Malik gave her a slight nod. Thank you. He walked ahead of Simon now. Down the corridor. Past the sleek offices and silent glances. In his hand, he still held the small box. Not one person asked what was inside. Not one person thought to. They'd learn soon enough. The glass door to conference room 1 whispered shut behind them. Inside, a long table stretched beneath pendant lights that glowed a little too perfectly. The room smelled faintly of citrus and leather. 3 board members were already seated, laptops open, coffee cups half full. They looked up when Malik entered. No one stood. One of them, a woman in a navy blazer, blinked, glanced at Simon, then back to Malik. Can we help you? Simon cleared his throat. This is Malik James, the new CEO. There was a pause. A long one. The man to her left adjusted his glasses. Oh, I thought he was arriving next week. Malik stepped forward, placed the box gently on the table, then sat at the head without waiting for permission. Plans changed. Simon took a seat at the far end. The others followed, slower this time, watching Malik more carefully now. One of them tried a smile. Well, welcome aboard. We didn't know you were visiting the lobby. I wasn't visiting, Malik said evenly. I was watching. The man with the glasses chuckled nervously. Watching. Your staff. Your frontline filters. How they treat someone when they don't think it matters. No one spoke. Malik opened the box. Inside was a single item, a worn company badge from 10 years ago. His old name tag. Faded. Bent. Clipped to a folded sheet of paper. He looked at the group. I used to deliver here. Every Tuesday. No one saw me then either. Their expressions began to change. Subtly. Uneasily. Malik didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. The room sat in a weighted silence, the kind that made clocks feel louder than they were. Malik unfolded the sheet of paper. It was a delivery manifest, Horizon Tech's shipping records from a decade ago. His name was scrawled at the bottom. The records were small but real. He slid it across the table. I wasn't invisible. I was just ignored. The woman in the blazer shifted, her eyes flicking to the manifest, then back to Malik. Mr. James, I'm sure no one intended. I'm not here to talk about intentions, he said quietly. I'm here to talk about culture. One of the others, a younger board member with a tech startup past and a smartwatch he kept checking, cleared his throat. Look, if there's something specific you're concerned about, we can address it. Malik leaned back slightly. Calm. Controlled. Earlier today, I was told to use the back door. Told not to stand in the lobby. Told I didn't belong. He looked at Simon now. By people who report to you. Simon stared down at the table. The woman tried again. I think we all understand how that could come across, but people make assumptions. And that, Malik said, is exactly the problem. He let it sit. He didn't need a slideshow. No mission statement. No dramatic retelling. Just facts. And presence. In that room, with all their degrees and polished shoes and rehearsed agendas, they finally realized who held the power now. No one reached for the manifest. It stayed in the center of the table untouched. The badge sat beside it like a relic no one wanted to claim. Malik didn't fill the silence. He let it breathe, because discomfort was part of the point. Finally, Simon spoke, his voice low. I'll speak with the lobby staff. Make sure they're reminded of. No, Malik interrupted. This isn't about reminders. This is about what's been allowed to pass for normal. The younger board member leaned forward. So what do you want to do? Malik looked at him, his face unreadable. You don't fix culture with memos. You fix it by starting from the front desk. From the way people are seen. Or not. The man sat back. Malik turned to the woman in the blazer. When you assumed I didn't belong, what did you see? She didn't answer. He didn't press. Instead, he stood, took the badge, slipped it back into the box. I'll meet with department leads this week. One by one. Not to punish. To observe. He paused. Because I don't need them to know who I am. A beat. I need them to remember what I look like when they don't. Then he walked out, leaving behind the silence. The door clicked shut behind Malik. Inside, no one moved right away. Then the whispering began. I thought he was just. He used to deliver here? Seriously. Simon rubbed his temples. He told us this was how he wanted to start. I just didn't expect. You didn't expect him to look like that, the younger board member muttered. No one corrected him. Because it was true. The woman in the blazer stared at the manifest, her expression tight. This is going to be a problem. No, said Simon, finally sitting up straighter. This is going to be a change. Out in the hallway, Malik walked slowly. Employees passed him, some offered quick nods now. Polite. Hesitant. The word was spreading. He entered the elevator alone. Hit the ground floor. Watched the number lights count down. In the polished walls of the elevator, he saw himself reflected. Hoodie, jeans, quiet eyes. Still the same man. Only now they had to see him. The elevator doors opened with a soft chime. Same marble floor. Same cold air. Same receptionist behind the desk. Except this time, her back was a little straighter. Her hands paused above the keyboard. She looked up. Their eyes met. Her face flushed. She opened her mouth to speak, then stopped, settled for a nod. Malik nodded back, nothing extra in it. Just acknowledgement. The security guard from earlier stood by the main entrance, posture suddenly more attentive than casual. As Malik passed, the guard gave a slight nod too. Not forced, not friendly. Careful. Malik stopped at the glass doors, looked out at the street. People moved in every direction. Suits, backpacks, couriers, faces the building hadn't learned to see yet. He stepped outside. The sun was brighter now. Across the street, a teenage boy leaned against a city bus stop pole, holding a brown paper bag and a crumpled delivery receipt. He wore an old sweatshirt and shoes with one torn lace. He didn't notice Malik at first, but Malik noticed him. He paused, then walked. Malik crossed the street slowly, weaving between passing cars and indifferent glances. The boy at the bus stop didn't look up until Malik was a few feet away. Yo, the boy said, straightening up. You need something? Malik shook his head. No, just saw the receipt. You delivering? The boy held up the bag like it explained everything. Lunch run. My cousin works security in that building. He jerked his thumb toward Horizon Tech. They won't let me go past the lobby though. Said I gotta wait here. Malik glanced back at the glass tower. That's so? Yeah. Said it's policy. But I see other people go in and out all the time. Just not like me. He shrugged. Not angry. Just used to it. Malik nodded slowly. What's your name? Jalen. You like the work? It's work, Jalen said. Pays for Wi-Fi and a new mic. I'm trying to stream music and stuff. Malik smiled faintly. Good reason. Jalen tilted his head. You work over there? Malik looked back at the building again. Yeah, you could say that. You like it. He didn't answer right away. Then, I like what it could be. Jalen squinted at him. You sound like a boss. Malik looked him in the eye. Sometimes people don't look like the job they have. Jalen smirked. Yeah, I know how that goes. They stood there for a moment. Just two guys. One with a box, one with a bag. Both shaped by what others didn't see. Malik reached into his pocket, pulled out a slim black card, and held it out. Jalen looked at it but didn't move. What's that? Access, Malik said. My office. Top floor. Bring your cousin his lunch. Then come find me. Jalen narrowed his eyes, unsure if it was a joke. Why? Because you stood out here, waited, and still showed up. That's more than some people do with an office and a title. Jalen took the card, flipping it over. There was no phone number, just a name and a logo. Malik James, he read aloud. CEO? Just started, Malik said. Jalen's mouth opened, then shut again. His expression tightened, not out of disbelief but because the math was adding up and it wasn't computing fast enough. You serious? Dead serious. Jalen looked at the building again, then back at Malik. They thought you were delivering something. I was, Malik said. He tapped the side of the box still in his hand. A reminder. Jalen looked down at the card again. It was real. All of it was real. Back inside Horizon Tech, the lobby hadn't quite settled. The receptionist refreshed her screen again. No new appointments. No more surprises. But she kept glancing at the entrance like something else was about to happen. Upstairs, the boardroom was quieter now. The air less tense, but only because no one dared say much. Simon was scrolling through his emails, stopping every time he saw Malik's name. The others were just waiting. No one was sure what they were waiting for. Malik wasn't back yet, but his presence still was. Down in the security office, Jalen's cousin, a tall man with a worn badge and tired eyes, was watching camera feeds when the elevator opened. Jalen stepped out, bag in one hand, card in the other. Hey, he said. His cousin turned. You weren't supposed to come up here. Jalen handed over the food. Malik James said to give you this. Told me to come find him after. He showed the card. The cousin stared at it. Then at Jalen. You sure? Jalen nodded. Pretty sure. In that moment, the cousin didn't ask more questions. He just stood up, walked to the door, opened it. Top floor's yours. Jalen stepped through. Another ripple. Another pair of eyes opened. The elevator to the executive level was fast, smooth, too smooth. Jalen shifted from foot to foot as it climbed, glancing at his reflection in the brushed steel walls. He tugged once at his hoodie, then stopped himself. There was nothing to fix. The doors opened to silence. Not the cold kind from the lobby. This was different, focused, intentional. A woman at a sleek desk looked up. Her gaze landed on Jalen, paused for a second, but she didn't flinch. You're expected, she said, standing. Right this way. She led him past glass-walled offices, clean lines, quiet hums of conversation. Every now and then, someone looked up, then looked again. Because Jalen didn't look like he belonged. Except someone had said he did. At the end of the hall, a wide door was half open. Malik stood inside, jacket off, sleeves rolled, reading something at the edge of his desk. He looked up. Jalen, he said. No surprise. No welcome speech. Just a name spoken with calm certainty. Come in. Jalen stepped inside. The door eased shut behind him. Jalen sat across from Malik, the chair firm, too upright. He tried not to shift too much. Malik, still standing, closed the folder on his desk and leaned back against the edge. Not looming, just steady. Tell me something, Malik said. What would you do with this place? Jalen blinked. What? If it were yours? If you ran it? What would you change? Jalen looked down, thought for a second, then looked back up. Probably wouldn't start with marble floors, he said. People walk in and already feel like they don't belong. Malik didn't smile, but something flickered in his eyes. Jalen kept going. That security desk? First thing they see. No hello. Just suspicion. You could build something better just by making people feel seen. Seen how? Jalen hesitated. Like, they matter before anyone knows their title. Malik nodded once. Slowly. You ever had a mentor? He asked. Jalen shook his head. Not really. You're about to, Malik said. Jalen sat still, unsure if he'd heard right. I don't hand out titles, Malik continued. But I do open doors. The rest is on you. Jalen leaned forward slightly. Not out of excitement. Out of belief. I'm in, he said. Malik nodded again. No handshakes. No speeches. Just understanding. The next morning, the lobby felt different. Not louder. Not busier. Just aware. The receptionist greeted people with eye contact, not the automatic half-smile she used before. The security guard stood straighter, but quieter. Less gatekeeper, more guardian. Word had traveled. Not through emails or press releases, no announcement had been made. Just conversations behind doors. Just stories told in quiet tones. Just a question on everyone's mind. Did you hear what happened with the CEO? By mid-morning, the front desk had already seen 2 more young men walk through in work boots and paint-streaked pants, heads a little higher than usual. And no one stopped them. Not right away, at least. Upstairs, Jalen sat in a small corner office, no nameplate, no title. Just a borrowed desk and a screen displaying onboarding forms. He read slowly, carefully. Every so often, he glanced out the glass wall toward Malik's office just to make sure it was still real. And it was. 1 floor down, Simon met with HR. He didn't look defensive anymore. He looked like someone learning the cost of silence. The building hadn't changed, but the air inside it had. Late that afternoon, Malik stood alone in the corner of the lobby. No suit. No crowd. Just stillness. He watched people come and go, employees, guests, delivery drivers. Most didn't notice him. A few did and nodded. One young woman, dressed like she'd just come from cleaning offices, caught his eye, hesitated, then walked past without slowing. He let her go. Because the point wasn't to be recognized. It was to make sure others would be. Behind him, the receptionist adjusted her chair slightly. Not out of discomfort, but habit. She'd started saying good morning to everyone now. No more deciding who looked important enough. Jalen exited the elevator with a folder in hand. He looked toward Malik, paused, then continued out the front doors. Confident, steady. Malik didn't wave. He just watched. Sometimes a change doesn't begin with speeches. Sometimes it begins with being misjudged, and staying quiet long enough for the lesson to land where it hurts. In a building where first impressions once decided everything, the silence now said more. And Malik, the man they tried to send to the back door, had become the one quietly rewriting the front.